Hello everyone, this is Planckera, and welcome to my universe. So, last time, I finished most of at least the basic parts of the hair, and now it is time to figure out how to, really bring it to the next level, or if I have to do anything at all. I know there's a few things I definitely want to do, mostly highlights, but I might also be a little bit interested in some shadows to, make it more look like her little wings on the side here. But there are a couple of things that I do kind of want to correct before I get into that. And the big one, honestly, is just that I don't like how I handled the cast shadow from her ear here. I don't think her hair is this far away from her ear. So I want to move that shadow a little bit closer. And that's going to require a little bit of reconstructive surgery, but it's fine. Nothing I can't handle. So I'm just gonna select that, and I'm just gonna move it a little closer here. And probably change the angle a little bit too. So let's just bring that, like, over here just a little. See, it's not that bad at all. I will hide the hair further back, though, just because I think it'll lead to problems if I don't. And hello there, Blood Bullet. Welcome back. I mean, so far so good. I've just gotten started. But it's gonna be Science Day. And you know that those days are always good days. And honestly, I don't even think I need to add a little bit of extra hair or anything. I just want to move this guy up a little bit. And the rest, I think, looks pretty okay, so that is nice. So yeah, before I get into hair, I do want to finish up her accessories here. I wasn't quite able to finish this, but that's okay. Well, winter's a good time to just get nice and cozy. But it's also a good time to be doing indoors work. Because I don't know, if you ask me, I think art stuff is pretty cozy. So, perfect for winter. Oops. There we go. Alright. Just a fat-fingered the crop. The crop key. Definitely don't need that right now. Okay, and then I do think I probably just want to move that little one that I had before a little further up. Kind of just wanted to come out of the ear here. Yeah, like right there looks good. So this is where I have an advantage, because I walk my daughter to school, so I'll be good regardless. I guess if it gets too cold, I'll drive her, but that's something to be avoided as far as I'm concerned. Walking is healthy. Alright. So let's see, I kind of want to straighten out the little chain thingies real quick. They are just a tad messy for my taste. Is that this thing? Yes, that is that thing. I just want to straighten them out a little. They're mostly fine. I'm not gonna spend too long on it. They just kind of cross the line in terms of messiness for me. So I just want to fix it up a little. And then I do think I will run a line in between them. I don't think it actually happens on Malice's actual crown, but that's fine. I'm just gonna run a quick little line through this, I think. Just so they don't quite look like they're floating quite as much. Okay, and most of these other ones I think look pretty okay. So that's good. Let's just get a thin line through here. Even that's a little too thick. This is another case where I worry that I don't have, like, enough various movements and stuff in the hair, because, you know, I keep doing that. I did once again just follow her character design very, very closely, but I think for this one it works. This one isn't meant to look natural. I'll see if I want to add any, like, hair fluttering or something. It's possible that I might. It's always possible. But right now I think it's looking pretty good, so. I don't think I need to worry about it that much, but, you know, since today is going to be Hair Science Day, maybe I'll try a thing or two. I'll see how it goes. I do know that I want to just do a simple little thing to get the shadow from these dangly parts, and that's just, I'm going to duplicate the layer, I'm going to move it down to the hair layer, and I'm going to turn it black. Just Control U, lightness down to 0, and then I'm going to move it in the direction of the light source, and I think that's how I'm going to handle the shadow there. I think that'll be easier than just trying to draw it. Trying to draw it looks like hell, so I'm just not. Sounds good to me. Let's just not. Cause yeah, that looks fine. Okay, so I'm gonna merge this into the hair. And now I can actually go in and start decorating all of this. I think I'm gonna start with the gems. Yeah, that seems like a good idea too. Because if I start from here, then I can just put the shading on the gem itself and not have to worry about making things too thin. Where is my Malice reference? Okay, I just wanted to double check and make sure that the gems were inset here. So they are inside these little metal parts. So I want to make sure that it looks like they're sitting in there. It was just important to check so that this way I could determine which of these... which side should be thicker than the others. And it's over here. This is looking nice and inside that little gold part now. There we go, and I will put the highlights on later. I'm just going to go ahead and get all the shadows in for now. And this is why I got the pink, because I knew that I'd have to thin out some of these lines. I do not normally get it right on the first try, but you know, that's alright. I'll just keep poking at it until I get it. You look inside. Yes, okay. my eyes were playing tricks on me for a second there. It's alright, happens all the time. And then I want to take a look at the kinds of gems these are. I'm pretty sure that they were just simple round ones, which I of course turned into hexagons because no curves allowed. And a hexagon was just an easy way to turn a circle into something more angular. But if they are just simple little round things that I don't have to think too hard about further shading, I can just finish it off like that. Okay, are you just simple circles? Sure are. Alright, let's just get a little light spot in here. I'm just going to make it a tiny diamond as opposed to a tiny circle. And that should be it for the gems there. Okay, I think I don't quite like the angle of this one, so I'm just gonna fix it up real quick. But the rest I think are looking fine. And now I can pretty freely just get to this gold part here. So the way that this part works, it's like a clasp. It's like going all the way around. So I want to have something like that there. Yeah, just kind of like that. That's perfect. And then I'm not going to go too hard on this. I'm just going to get an outline and call it good. There. Yep, and that'll be how it goes for all of this. It might get a couple of highlights, probably not a lot. But, yep, just a line and that's about it. I really don't think it needs anything else. And frankly, that tiny gold chain may not even get that much. But I do think that these little shapes do need a little bit of an outline. Just to match with the rest. Otherwise, they'll be kinda sticking out. Alright. So, it'll probably take me a second to go all the way around, but at least it's easy. It is pretty straightforward. There's just a lot of them. You know, as always, there's a lot. This is why I took the time to clean it up just a little bit before I started on all of this. Just so I would have a little bit of an easier time. Alright, now we're at the next clasp thing. So I'll draw the little part where it connects there and then go around to this big guy. Just keeping the line nice and thin. This area does not need to draw a lot of attention to itself. So it can just kind of stay subtle. And the areas that are just kind of on the black parts of the hair, I'm not going to worry about. They're already kind of surrounded with black. And if I end up putting something there later, like highlights or changing the shape of things, I'll be sure to take another look through all of this and see if it's, you know, still fine. But for now, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it at all. There, I worried about it a little bit because I didn't want this part of the little gem holder thingy to look thicker than the rest. You know, that would just be no good. So I did have to put a little bit of the black line there. But that was its only purpose. Okay, and I'm almost through. This will be the last little hair accessory, so that's nice as well. I actually, when I looked at the crosshair accessory there, I thought it looked pretty good. I think it might maybe need a little bit of highlight. I'm not entirely sure. I actually think on her original model it's pretty matte. Yeah, it is. But, it might still need just a little bit of highlight. Just to show angle changes. I don't know. It's okay, we're getting into science soon. And I'll see how I feel about everything at that point, so, you know, with any luck, maybe I can actually finish off her hair today. You know, sans the hair in the very back. But there we go, there's the rest of her crown. Yeah, I think it seems fine. And I'm not gonna worry about her accessory there just yet. I think it looks okay like that. And besides, it's science time, and I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I'm gonna get myself a new layer, just because I'd be panicking otherwise, and then I'm just gonna plop in some highlights. So let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm starting with highlights, so I'm thinking about where light will hit her hair. On her original model, the artist only put it kind of up here. Which I think is probably fine. I'm just going to start with a basic kind of straight line through here. Do I like it there or do I want it a little bit lower? I think a little bit lower looks nicer. and I'm gonna let it go all the way across. I'm gonna have some spots I need to erase. That's okay. I will deal with that later, and you'll notice it's curved. Again, another thing I'll deal with later. I just kind of want to block stuff in right now. Doing too many things at once is just no good at all, so... Okay, and then I think I'm gonna have some highlights through here. And same on the other side. And then I think I want some over through this thing. The big old hair bun here. I don't think I'll put it there, but here I think looks pretty good. And then I probably want some on this. Maybe not like that, maybe more like... Oh yeah, that's it. Right there. Kind of where the transition happens. I have to remember that just because I'm making everything super angular like this, these were originally curves, and one of the best parts to put hair highlights, in my opinion, is where hair curls. Do I want any over here? I'm actually not sure, so let's try it. No, I think that looks good. Okay. And then what about up here? No to there. Okay, and then how about the braid? Does the braid get any? I'll just think about how I want this to go. And I'm gonna keep it rough because I don't know if I'm gonna keep any of these. It might be a little bit too much. Is it? I don't think I want any on this one back there. But how do I feel about it over here? Is it too much? No, I think it looks pretty good. It also adds a little bit more detail to her face. I'm also realizing that I don't quite like the shape of the shadow here, mostly between her eyes. I'm gonna change that. You know what? I'll do that now before I finish up the hair. Just because I do feel like this part is kinda important. So let's see, how should this actually be? So the way faces work is we get a curve kind of going down like this, but I can't make it curved. Curves are forbidden, so I need to just take the same thing and make it straighter. I kind of like the little straight right here, but it needs to be small and very sparing. Otherwise it'll look weird. I don't want her face to look weird. That's like the worst thing you can do to an anime girl. Make her face look weird. It's terrible. Unless it's intentional. If it's intentional and you know what you're doing, you know, maybe it's okay. Okay. Okay, let's see. Yeah, at this point, I am kind of getting into final stuff here. So I do really want to make sure that the face is exactly as I think it should be. And let's see, the other thing I wanted to try science-wise, I kind of wanted to make her hair a little bit, you know, more like this, like I was describing earlier. Because I actually think that this looks pretty good. So if I could make the rest of her hair kind of have similar qualities, I think it would also look really good. In particular, I was looking at the braid. I don't want to go too hard on it. I want to be very, very careful with this because I think it'll be very easy to be way too much. I know my nature. I am well aware of just how easy it is for me to go completely overboard. So I am gonna try to be careful. But I kinda want to see about just adding a little bit more stuff to the hair here. Look, hair never ends. Never. Anime girls, just infinite sources of hair. If we could harness even a tenth of their hair-based energy, we would never run out of it for industrial purposes. It'd be fantastic. Ah, hello there, Shinora. It's been a while. Welcome back. Ah, no need to apologize. You know, as always, I think coming to stream should be fun. And you should just come when you want to. And don't when you don't. Okay, that's a good thing to be busy with. Learn all the things. Become a better person. Okay, but I'm really liking where this is going so far. Yes. Yes, I am. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the rest of her hair, but this one, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it can get pretty cold in the winter. Okay. So some of these lines I'm keeping pretty thin. And like I said, I don't really want to go overboard. I just want to keep everything looking nice. No, I don't like that one. You know what? I think this is okay. And I think I'm going to try to keep the shadows thicker in the places that should be, you know, more in shadow as you do. As you do. And then I'm also trying to vary up the length and width of them all and, you know, all the usual things. All right. So it's going to take a while to get all through all the braids here. I'm probably going to do the same thing on these ones. So that will definitely take a minute, but I like it. I like it a lot. So I'll consider this science very successful. And I think it'll add some very nice things to the overall picture. So, very excited to be working on it. No. That's fine. Having to resist the urge to just fill the world with black lines. Very important. I don't want to do that. I want to keep it with just the right amount. And just, as always, continue to fight my urge to just completely overdo things and put in way too much and stay zoomed in too far and all those things. But I like this a lot. I think it is great. And I'm just kind of experimenting on where they should go and how long and thick they should be and all those good things. So I don't always get it right immediately. That's what makes Control Z so nice. I can just try it, see how it looks. And then once I'm happy, I move on to the next one. Easy peasy. I'm also thinking about some things that I want to do with other parts of the hair. But, you know, I can't get too deep into that. It's just... This is pretty simple, right? I don't have to think too hard about it. There's definitely some stuff I gotta be thinking about, but... When my brain is just not having to be fully engaged with the thing, sometimes it just wanders all over the place. And I just start thinking about what I'm gonna do next. Oh yeah, and today is the last day of November, which means National Novel Writing Month, or Novel November, or whatever it is being called now, is done. So I am free. I am free. I had a good time though. I learned so much just doing that, and it was really good. I'm glad I did it. By the end, I actually kind of felt like the word count goal was a detriment, but it's okay. I managed to get through it all. So I now have 50,000 words toward the comic idea that I have, the script. And I think I'm only going to be able to keep about half. But it's okay. Honestly, it was like that with painting for me at first, in that I was extremely slow. Like, it would take me well over a month. Probably closer to 2 or 3, just to finish a single illustration. Not even necessarily especially complicated ones. Just combination of perfectionism and, you know, being new to art. And now I'm doing the same thing with writing, and I am seeing a lot of my old habits and stuff. And how I tended to be. And that, you know, I'm more than happy to spend a really long time on something as long as it comes out the way I want it to. And because I am relatively new when it comes to writing, well, guess what? It just takes me a long time to do anything, because I will keep trying until I get the result I want. But I don't know, I felt like just forcing myself to try a bunch of different things, even when I got really mad, it taught me things. So I'm hopeful that, you know, maybe in the coming year, I'll have a finished script. I'll certainly be trying. I don't know how long it'll take me. Probably a pretty long time. Just because I'll be having to fight the perfectionism. Alright, let's get a little before and after here. Oh god, that is so good. Yeah. I approve. Alright, I'm gonna go do her other braid before I do the rest of her hair. So for over here, I might add a little bit more. I'm noticing that I kind of liked some of these thin lines. So I might add some tiny ones like this over here too. But first, I just want to get this little braid here. Because I think this is what's going to kind of determine what happens everywhere else. Just what happens with all these braids. But yeah, I'll be trying things. In terms of art, writing, YouTube, just all the things. Next year's gonna be interesting. I was talking about it with my husband a little bit, and I was like, yeah, I think next year might be the most interesting year for me since our kid was born. Where lots of things are going to be happening, and lots of things are going to be changing, and I just have no idea what I'm doing, and I am terrified. It's okay, it's a good terrified. I must face the unknown. Bravely. With tremendous fear, but do it anyway. I was about to say without fear, but I was like, no. That is absolutely not how I'm facing the unknown here. There is tremendous fear, but it's fine. I can still do it. I don't need to be fearless to go do it. I can be as nervous and anxious as I want. No need to suppress the emotion. Let it flow. And ironically, it's a good way to be. It's like, you know, I've heard some people say, yeah, this is how you be less afraid of things. And I'm just like, you know what? No, you don't need to be less afraid of things. It's fine. Just go and do the thing anyway. Go do it while afraid. It's great. It'll actually make you less afraid too. Actually, I shouldn't say it's great. It's not great. It's okay. It'll be the kind of thing that I look at in 5 years and be like, no, this was okay. All is well. Actually, it was kind of the same way with streaming for me, because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, and I was super, super nervous on my first stream. I mean, I knew nobody would show up because I didn't advertise it at all. I just started. That helped a little. But, no, I was, like, super terrified, man. I don't even remember the first one because I just felt like I was gonna throw up the entire time because I was so anxious, but yeah, I did it anyway. And now I'm here. And now no, it's not true. I still get kind of nervous, but it's not nearly as bad. I remember most of my streams now. And it's fantastic. I'm glad I did it. I mean, if I wasn't, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't still be here, so... You gotta know that something's going right, at least in my opinion. Okay. So I'm just gonna add some little guys, here and there, just... 'cause I can. I don't want it to be too complicated, though, so... We're gonna keep the little guys sparing. Just, I don't know, I liked the way the little guys looked in the braid, so I wanted to add a few more, just kinda around. And I don't think they actually have to connect with anything. I think they can just kind of be there. They all connected up there because the braids are small. Hold on, sitting on my foot. It's falling asleep. It disagrees with my position. There we go. Okay, but yeah, I like a few little guys. I don't think they even have to fully connect or anything. I only did on the braids because the braids are really small. I think that's probably sufficient. So let's actually go ahead and just add some pink little guys there. Yeah. And you can see I'm not really going too hard on it. I just want to add a little bit more texture. I think, yeah, texture is a good way to put it. I'll make this a little bit more hair-like. Without adding just too much noise. And I think that's perfect. I don't think it needs any more. So now all that's left is kind of more of her front hair here and these big old curls. So I want to think about how to approach that. This is why I made a new layer, because I was afraid. And I didn't want to lose any of the hair that I already did. Okay, looking at the structure of this hair on Malice's model, it kinda comes down like this. It has these kinds of shapes. And I think the way I'm gonna handle it is I'm gonna bring it in deep into the shadows of the braid here and do something like this. And see, these lines are a little bit thicker. Because at this point, I'm adding a little bit more structure to the hair. And even on her model, they don't completely go all the way up, so I don't feel the need to do that here either. This is still on a separate layer, so I can shape it as I see fit. And I can add as many little guys as I want. But for now, I just kind of want to get the big picture. So I should probably actually zoom out a little, just so that this way I can see her whole head and kind of get that going the way I want it to. And I'm just referencing the original model here and there just to make my life a little bit easier. See what her mama did to make her so pretty. I always like doing that with fan art. Just, you know, taking a good look at what the original artist did. I take it very seriously. I take everything very seriously. It's okay. Okay, and I'm gonna thicken up stuff through there. I think that looks pretty good. I don't think I want to add too much more to this, though. I think the rest is going to be mostly highlight. So I'll bring in some little guys here. Just a few little guys. Thinner lines for nice texture, but that's about it. I think that looks pretty good. I think I can leave it there. And then up in here, there's like a part in here that's going to be going further down. So I'm going to add some darker spots through here. Just to kind of give that impression. And I'll let some of them kind of carry on up to there. I think that looks pretty good. And some of them will just stay back. They don't need to go all the way. It's okay. They are fine back there. And I think that's probably about all I really need here. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. So now I just got to figure out what to do with all the side hair here. I think it'll look really good once I add the highlights. Those are going to be great. So I think I'll add a couple more strands coming out of this guy here. Just make it a little bit darker like that. I think that's pretty good. And then right around here, where it's gonna like curl back into this, I think I want some shadows. Just kind of coming out. Kind of emphasizing that curl. And then up here, Maybe just a little bit of stuff like that. And this one can have one kind of coming down too. And I'll do some kind of almost hatching-like things. And her back hair probably won't be this detailed, but I do think it's important to put a ton of detail in the areas around the focal point, which, you know, in this case is her face. So I do want to make sure... Oh, hi. Are you not... You're not part of that, huh? Yeah, I guess you're not. Okay. Never mind. I went to go clip it to the group here, but I forgot that all of this is in a different area, and I don't really feel like dealing with multiple layers for my science here, so I'm not gonna. I'll just keep it like this. Okay. I don't know, do I want some more? I think I do, actually. I think I do, actually. So let's just keep going until I'm happy. Gotta be happy. Gotta be happy with the things I make. Just no good if I'm not. And don't worry, it'll all get cleaned up later, so I'm not too worried about going outside the lines or any of that. All will be well. I'll add a few little guys there, and I don't really feel like I can add too much into this. I think it'll look kind of bad if I do. So I think this amount is going to be fine, and then I'll just make sure to put some extra highlights up here. Hello there, Tito. Welcome back. Took me a second to recognize you because your name changed. YouTube is truly trolling us all. I feel like it's been extremely rude lately. Okay. Let's see here. I think I want some coming down here. Maybe a little bit more like that, yeah. And then up from here, which will have this kind of shape. This might take a second to clean up, but, you know, I think it'll be worth it. I do think that the hair looks much better now. Because, I mean, just, like, the before and after is huge. Like, man. So much better. This was a very, very good science. Okay. And here I get to have a little bit of extra stuff just because there's many, many more shadows. And I think this will also kind of help it fade into the background over there by making the side a little bit darker. And once again, I don't really think there's a lot I can do with up there, but I think this is okay. I think with the highlights, that should fix everything else, which I think also means that I probably want the highlight here to be just a little bit higher. So probably more like up here. I don't know how I want them to be shaped yet. I just want to know where they're going. Yeah, that works. I think they look fine over there and fine over there. Alright, so I think it's time to figure out the shape. Now I have to decide. I do my usual extremely pointy highlights with, you know, copious amounts of end shapes. I don't think that looks bad. Or do I make them more square and kinda, I don't know, go across here and then... This is a different kind of science. Kinda cut them up. Ah, very unfortunate. I was gonna say, I recognized your avatar, and I was like, wait. And then I read the name, and I was like, oh, okay. YouTube's just trolling again. Let's see. I think the end shapes look better. Okay. So what I'm gonna do then is I'm actually gonna yeah, I think I'll just reduce the opacity here so this way I know roughly where I want to put things, and then I'm just gonna go in and go. I'm just gonna do my big ol' end shapes, and then I'll clean them up and make them nice and angular afterward. But this will at least give me an idea of where they will be living. Okay. The highlights on the braids, you know what? I'm not even gonna attempt to do them while I'm zoomed out. I'm just gonna go in a little bit and make it look nice there. Alright, first things first. I just kind of want to get things started. Plop them down. And I'll go from there. So let's see, I did say I wanted a few up here. This feels a little bit weird, but I think it looks okay, so... It's okay, I've been kind of used to things feeling a little bit weird for this picture. I'm doing some things that I haven't really done before, so it is only natural. No. Needs to go up. There we go. Then the same over here. Where I mostly want to keep things localized to this flat area here. Trying to follow the shape of the shadows there. Easier said than done. But I'm doing my best. And then I might add in a few little guys again. Just a few. Okay, then around here, I know had some. Man, these shapes are so weird. I like them, though. I like them a lot. They just feel really, really strange. Like, really strange. So I'm actually having to kind of focus on it. Mad. Okay. Alright, so I think I can get rid of the original now. And I will plop some things onto the braids here. Kind of figure out how I want to get those going. Okay, I probably shouldn't have just randomly started in the middle. I know I do that a lot, but I feel like it comes with some downsides, so let's actually start at the end. These ones will be a little bit smaller than the ones out on the rest of the hair. Braids are very tiny after all. But I think it should look pretty good by the time I'm done and I actually clean all this up. Hair. Never let you go. Never escape the hair. Okay, let's see. I think this is working. Did I want any highlights up there? I don't think so. It would make sense if I wanted to, but I don't actually think I do. Alright. Back to braids. Time to stop getting distracted by everything, but it's fine. Getting a little bit distracted is perfectly healthy, so it's okay. I think these kinds of shapes should look fine once I zoom out. And then I'll just put little guy in there. Yeah, that totally works. I could probably tone it back a little bit, but I think it's mostly okay. I'm gonna start with the dark parts before I go in and do the highlights. And I'm gonna start with the braids just to make sure that they're kind of doing what I want. I think I'm good with the area around her face being a little bit busier than the rest, because it is the focal point. That is where most of the detail should be located. If I want things to look good. I still feel like I should do something with her eyes, but I'm not sure what. Oh wait, I'm on the wrong layer, shoot. Wait, did I just draw all the highlights in the wrong layer? Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, okay, it's fine. I can make it work. I swear, my layer management has just been, like, especially bad lately. I feel like I've been a little bit more absent-minded than usual, and I kinda hate it. Okay, so now what I gotta do here is I gotta work out all of the curves. There are still no curves allowed here. No curves allowed at all. So I want to make sure that everything is nice and straight. And I still lament that I put all those highlights on the wrong layer, but it's okay. It's okay. I don't think anything here is going to need little guys. If anything, it could use less, just in general. So I might just take some stuff a little further back. And I think the highlight should be a little bit stronger on this side than this side, and this side it should have the shadows a little bit stronger. Just due to the way things are angled and how braids work in theory. So I'm going to be keeping that in mind as I go. Just let the highlights be stronger up here. And I also think that they should get a little bit less as I get over to the edges. So I'll keep that in mind too, but right now it's, you know, cleanup time. Time to make everything smooth so it will actually look good. Okay, I think I want to make this highlight just a little smaller. I plopped these down pretty quickly, so there's still quite a few decisions to be made here. I will be thinking about each and every one. I'll just put a little guy right there. I think that will actually look pretty okay. These shapes still feel a little bit weird, but I think that they look good. This is just, you know, the typical V shape that I use for highlights. Just angled. Just turned into square instead of circle, because, you know, most of the time I do it more like that. But now it is square. Hello there, Tamak. Welcome back. It's hair time! Because it's always hair time when you draw anime girls. If they don't have their body weight in hair, you're doing something wrong. Okay, so I think I want a couple more highlights up on this side. I guess I should actually get the shadows there first. I'll get them at the same time, it's fine. Just continuing with the trend of the top half gets a little bit more highlight, the bottom half gets a little bit more shadow. So I just don't feel like there's sufficient highlight for a top half piece. Let's turn this from a V into an N. This is like the most mutated N I've ever made, but I think it has the N-like qualities that it needs, so it's fine. I just need to make it less curved. Because there are still no curves allowed here. Everything must be straight. I think the only exceptions in the entire piece are going to be her eyes and her chest. Everything else will be straight. I just feel like neither of those spots would quite work if they were straight. They need a little bit more of a roundness to them. Okay. No, I think I like you as two lines, actually. It's kind of like that. This one is a pretty good dark. I'm even going to darken it on this side, where it kind of connects through there. Yeah, I like that. There we go. Okay. This now has a little bit more of that lower half feeling to it. I'm not going to put in any more highlights. I might make this one a little thicker in a few places, but this, I think, is all correct. Okay. This one could actually, I think, use a little bit less shadow, so I'm going to make this guy a little bit thinner. Just a little. And then I could add the highlights on. I'm probably like a third of the way through. Braids. There's just always so much to them, I swear. I also gotta say, I'm glad that I only have to draw 2. Because she actually has a lot more than that. But they're all on the sides of the head where you don't see them. So it's fine, I only have to draw these 2. I am spared. From even more infinite hair. Okay. Let's see, yeah, this little guy can continue to exist, that's fine. I will allow it. I will allow the little guy right there to exist. I am generous like that. But I do think I want a couple more shadows in here. Probably just like a little guy like right there or something. Is that good? Maybe another little guy right here. That's good. Okay. You know, I should make sure that I'm not like too zoomed in and I'm just losing perspective on everything. No, still looks good. Okay. Look, I just didn't want to get all the way through, then zoom out and be like, oh no, it's terrible. Because that does happen sometimes, and when it does, it's very sad. But no, I think I can trust everything I put down here, so... I think I can. As long as I don't go changing too much. All should be well. Just gotta clean up what's actually here. Make sure it all tapers off into nice triangles. And there are no straight parts and no blobs. Or, no curved parts, excuse me. The dyslexia making me say the exact opposite of what I mean again. It's fine, it happens all the time. I kinda hate it, but I'm used to it. Alright. So that's good there. Just gotta continue my way up, and I think before I go and do the rest, I'm gonna go do the other braid. I just want to get the braids done. I want to be free. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and do them both together here. And then I will be free. Okay, yeah, that's good. I just had to find the perfect shape there. Fortunately, the other braid is a little bit more straightforward and doesn't have highlights, so that will make my life a little bit easier. I guess I'll go ahead and make that look good while I'm here. I just made that curved, whatever. I'll fix the rest later. Okay, no, you just look like that, that's fine. Gotta taper you off a little bit better then. Okay, then there's just parts here that are just a little bit messy. So once I fix them up, this one should be good. And I can move on to the next one. And then the next one. And then the next one. There's so much hair, man. There's so much hair. Doesn't help. Alright. I want this one to be like a little thick, but not too thick. Needs to be thicker than this one, but thinner than this one. And I think that's what's important for right there. Hello there, Protox. Welcome back. Okay. This one I think could use a little bit more, so I'm just gonna throw in some little guys here. And call that good. Then I can fix up the highlight. But, you know, still just continuing my trend of more highlight up top, more shadow on bottom. This might even be a little bit too much highlight, but I don't know. I think it's probably fine. Maybe I'll just take a little way there. Yeah, I think that's fine. Then I just need to make sure things are sufficiently pointy and triangle-like. Extra so here, because everything must be very, very straight. I have to fight all my instincts to put curves places. And it's hard. Okay. So here, I think I want to minimize the shadows a little bit more. Just because this is, you know, the top half, where there's supposed to be more highlights and less shadows. I think it has a decent amount overall. I'm just gonna make a couple of them a little bit thinner. And I think that'll look pretty good. And then we can make it nice and extra texture-y with just a little bit more highlight. Since this is the top half, I want it to be a little bit brighter. So we got the top half of the braid up here, and then the bottom half running down there. And I'm just keeping the top half a little bit brighter, and the bottom half a little bit darker. It's pretty close. Like, there's not that big of a difference between them, but I am keeping that in mind. I don't think there should be that big of a difference between them. It should just be a little bit. Just a little bit. I already got you, so yeah, we're doing this one. Only a few more to go. The end is in sight. And the other braid is smaller and also does not have highlights, so that will make my life a little bit easier. And I am kind of looking forward to it. Hair. Hair. I like it though. I think it looks really good. So, you know, it's worth all the extra effort. Unironically, it is. It always is. That's why I keep doing it. Yeah, I like this one being a little bit on the thicker side. I just want to taper off a little bit more nicely, and these other ones already look pretty okay, I think. So I'll just fix up these highlights now. I really don't like anything about this one, so I'm just gonna redraw them. Let's see, I need to fix this guy up because he got a little bit curved while I was taking out the highlights. Okay, and that's fine. Alright, what's this? 5 more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and 2 of them are just like half of one, so... It's getting there. And while I'm here, I might just get this part too. Because it's like right there. It's just right there, and it's small. And then I can go do the other braid. That's kind of the nice thing. As always, you know, I can do anything in any order, as long as I hit all of the parts I need to. And I don't leave anything unfinished. But as long as I'm not leaving anything unfinished, it doesn't really matter that much what order I do things in. I can kind of follow my brain's whims to a degree. Let's see, I think I want this one to be a little straighter. You got a little curved there. Okay, and this one... How do I feel about your shadows? I think you could use another little guy right there. I think that'll make things look a little bit better, and then I see that there's a little bit of bleeding in here. So I should be careful about that, just from when I was working over there. Okay. Once again, I think I'm going to add just a couple more little guys here, just since this is the bottom. And I want just a few more shadows here. Get it just right. The angle of the shadow is not cooperating. Okay, that looks pretty good. And now I can just fix up the highlights here, and once again, I kind of don't really like them, so I think I'm going to erase quite a lot of it. Yeah, they're not working for me. So let's kill them and make better ones. We'll just make them even better. Okay, and let's see, this line a little bit thin right through there. Just kind of prepping the area, making sure that I like where everything is going to go. And I don't want there to be too many little highlights through here. Just a couple. Yeah, that looks good. 3 left. They're getting easier as I go, so almost there. To be fair, that is also a nice thing about braids, is that they have like very, very discrete clumps, so I can count how many are left. It's very easy. So I can do a nice countdown in my brain, and it can get excited as I get further on. And I just know that, you know, once I get to the end, it'll be finished, and that's cool. Finishing stuff is great. Gonna make this one a little bit more lightning bolty. And then maybe just... No, I think this is sufficient here for this one. It needed to be a little bit bigger, but I think this little extra end that I put in works pretty well. I'll just make the bottom part here a little longer. And then I think I want one more right there. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. And, you know, this one actually doesn't look half bad even without cleanup, so... That's pretty nice. Managed to draw pretty well even from... what was I at, like 50%? That, like, never happens. That's exactly why I said, back when I was doing the initial drawing, that I wasn't even going to try to do the... to fix up the braids zoomed out. Alright. Last one. And then I am free. I'm gonna put a little guy right there. I actually don't think this highlight looks too bad. It just needs a little bit of touching up right through there. And then I think I'll add just a little bit of extra shadow around this. Okay. So there we go. I think that's good there. Does it still look good when I zoom out? I think so. Yeah, I think it looks much better with the extra detail. I definitely won't be doing that everywhere. And because if I did, it would be way too much. But for the stuff by the face, no, I think this is good. Okay. So I'm gonna go do the other braid. I'm just gonna finish them. Okay. So let's just finish them. And I think that this one's already looking fine when I zoom out, so I'm not gonna change very much. I'm just gonna clean up what already exists. I'm not really gonna be thinking about adding other little guys or taking away certain ones either. I'm gonna try to keep it as close to the same as I can. This is just a matter of getting rid of blobs. Because, oh boy, are there a lot of blobs. It's okay, it's to be expected. I drew this pretty far zoomed out. And my perfectionism will not allow for things to stay this messy. So, here we go. I'll just straighten out any ones that look like they got a little bit curved. Like you can see there's like a little hook at the end of this just because of how I draw lines. They just kind of hook at the end sometimes. Oop. And do things. So I'll just get rid of that tiny hook and carry on here. And unfortunately, like only about half of this braid is visible. The other half is kind of under the crown here, so that makes my life a little bit easier too. And then after this, I think I'm gonna go get that front hair. Because I think that's where some of the most important changes to adding texture is. The other ones, you know, it's good, but... oh, just making the area around her eyes a little bit more impressive. And I might change some stuff about her eyes a little bit. I've actually been thinking about adding that little flower that's in her eyes rather than just leaving it a round pupil. I went back and forth on that one. Because I did notice that when she widens her eyes a little bit, they become normal pupils, and I was kind of going for that. But I don't know, I just feel like they're a little boring. And that's a terrible thing to have happen to your anime eyes. You definitely don't want them to be boring. So I've been thinking about what to do about that, and that's one thought that I had. Just, you know, put the little flowers back in. But I guess I'll finish the hair first. So some of this I already know I'm going to have to straighten out quite a bit. There's quite a few curves here. It's okay, I kind of needed them at the beginning to understand what was happening. And now I can just kind of casually take them out. I think I'll leave that right there. I think that looks fine. And I want to make sure I get everything here just right. This is the front hair. It's very important. These guys are too curved, so I think I'm just going to redraw them. I think that'll be easier than trying to salvage what I had. Where were they exactly, though? Okay, right there. Okay. So just kind of like that, and I never actually cleaned up this part, so let's get that. It's pretty clean, though. Just a couple of spots to kind of fix up. Alright, now I want to get this part a little straighter. Just a little. Okay, I might hide the highlights for a second. They're getting in the way in a few places. I'm gonna try to keep them. But if they keep annoying me, I'll just hide them for a second. The joy of being able to have absolute control over this universe. I can just put things away whenever I want and let them show again whenever I want. No questions asked. Okay. And most of these little lines I think are fine. I'm just gonna kinda get rid of a few spots there. I think this one needs to be straighter. So I'm gonna keep the lower part and then redraw the top part. And this one will have to change because of it. Let's see, how do I think you should be angled up here? Like this, and then come down. There we go. And now I just fix the width and kind of connect the lines a little bit better, and all should be well. Just might take a sec to properly connect the lines. That's the downside to not doing it all in one stroke. But it's okay. I got this. I just need to shape that line to be the exact shape I want it to be. Because to me, there's a very little difference between a line and a shape. Lines are just very, very skinny ones. Okay, and that should be good. And then there was like another one to like come in right there. Okay, and that should be good. Okay, this one got curved. I wanted to kind of follow the shape of the cross on her head too. So I'm gonna kind of try to curve it like that. Straight. Straight. Something like that. Okay, then I'm gonna let you stick out and go back in. So straight right there. Let's let you stick out a little bit more then. Straight. Okay, and then I can fix up the other side. This gun got curved, so I'll erase it and try again. Straight. There. Okay, drew a little bit too far, but that's fine. It's easy enough to fix. Okay. And then both of these are very curved, so I'm just gonna... These two as well, so I'm just gonna redraw them. I'm just gonna redraw them. I'm trying to draw them all in one line because it does make my life a little bit easier if I can pull it off, and looks like I can, so all is well. trying to think about how to approach this side. Okay, so I think something like that'll be good. Okay, yeah, so far so good. Let's get the highlights in. The highlights are a little special in that I want to make sure they don't overlap here. But besides that, you know, all is well. So I want to make sure they don't overlap the cross there. Unfortunately, I can use the fact that I want to keep things like unnaturally straight as a way to help me out. And I can just put a little one up here and also make sure that it stays nice and straight. Okay. Looking much better already. Let's see, I don't think I need any over there. I think just having it over here is fine. So I just need to taper these off properly now. And make sure that they're nice and triangular and pointy. As any good hair highlight should. Okay, so there we go. I'm just going to redraw that one from scratch and kind of get this kind of shape going. A little bit more explicitly triangular. I think it looks pretty okay, though. And then I think I'm going to put a little guy kind of between these two. And actually, I think this one should be a little thicker. I don't want it to be any longer, but I do think it should be a little thicker. Okay, and little guy. Okay. I like that. So now I get this little guy here. Gonna add the triangle shape to it. And I'll put a little guy right there. And another little guy right next to him. Okay. Let's see. How do I feel like you're rolling here? I think I would actually like this one to be a little further down. And I'll put another one kind of right up next to it and let it kind of come up into that. So this shape is a little bit too blobby and not straight enough. So I better fix that. But besides that, he looks pretty good. And now I can add just another one right next to him. And they can be friends. Make this one a little longer down at the bottom, because why not? I do want to vary up the length of these things, so I think it's good to do. Okay, so I just want to get this one pointy, and this one is asking for a couple of little guys, I think. But I want to get this one first. And we'll have a little guy here, and a little guy there. Okay. And I think I'll put one more little guy just right there. There we go. I think that is the front hair, and I think it's looking pretty good. So I think next... Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and finish up the side hair here. And I'll just get everything working for me up here. I'm gonna let this continue all the way through. Okay, and I think I actually will put the shadow just kind of in all this. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. But another case of I don't think I want to change things too much, so I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try to keep things as similar as possible, just with the cleaner, straighter lines. that's just what's going on in this part here. Okay. I don't want it to end, like, right on top of the necklace there, so I'm gonna... Not the necklace, but the crown. So I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter there. I don't like it when these kinds of things overlap. I think it looks kind of bad. Or at least when they overlap like that. Like, I wouldn't want to put a line, like, right like this. That's terrible. Because that means that it shares the same line as the necklace there, and it just gets messy. Tangents are to be avoided, in my opinion. Okay. So I'll go ahead and finish off this point here. I have particular things in mind for that one. Okay. Let's see, is everything around this looking good still? I think so. Okay. I just got nervous for some reason, so I wanted to double check. And let's see, with you, I think I would actually like to take all of these and bend them. Just kind of like this, and then I will need to fix the end of this one because I don't want it to merge with the shadows on the crown. Like I said, it'd just be terrible. Tangents are to be avoided. Anytime you can. Which is most of the time. There are very few times I can think of where tangents are required, unless you're making a joke with a tangent. Okay. So let's get things nice and smooth through here. Okay. And I think I just want to get the other side of this here. I'm going to add another line there because I can. And I'll get this looking all nice and smooth now. I get the feeling that today gonna be mostly hair because that's how hair days tend to go. Because hair is very time consuming. It is, if I wanted to actually look good. Okay, maybe someday I'll figure out how to do hair quickly. I'd like to. Because I mean, with any luck, you know, maybe I will actually be able to write a comic and that'd be pretty sweet. But I definitely have to draw faster if I want to be able to pull that off. So, who knows, maybe someday I'll be able to draw hair fast. But that day is not today. I will certainly be trying, though. Okay. I am just trying to get this one, like, super perfect because I think it defines a lot of the structure of this hair. So I just want to make sure that one in particular is just really, really nice. And there's a tangent there that I hate. So, okay, these two, no good right there. Let's move them over a little. We'll put this one right here. Make them a little thicker there. And then this one right next to it. And now they no longer overlap with the point of this crown thing. So it's easier to understand what's happening here. Okay. So these little guys I think are fine. I'm just gonna taper them out a little bit better. But otherwise, they are totally fine. Okay, and that is that upper area, so I guess I'll just continue through here. It's as good a place as any. And I will see what awaits me further down. I guess I've just decided to do this side first. Sounds good to me. It's like, don't worry, both sides will be finished, so they don't have to worry about being left out. I won't be leaving anyone out. I want this hair to look excellent. That is why I'm revisiting it and trying things in the first place. And actually, you know, for here specifically, I think I want to add a little black line for this part of her finger. I didn't add it to the finger before because it was covering so much of the black part of her face here. But you know, that's not completely true anymore. Now it's covering some of the pink part of her hair, so let's go ahead and put a little line in there. Let's see, I think I'm actually gonna plop in just a few little guys coming out here. Just because of the glove. Probably same with over here, actually. We'll just put in a few little guys here. Let there be a little bit more shadow around the glove. Okay. But they're just little guys. Alright, I'll hold off on getting this part until I get the back of her hair there. The giant hair bun she's got. For now, I'm just going to focus entirely on getting the rest of the hair here. Nah, I hate it. Okay. So I'm just going to go down the side and into her hair drills. And then I'll go to the other side. Get in there and into her hair drills. But the good news is that once I do all that, that'll be it for the hair. It'll be all done. Just get in there, get into the hair drills, then, you know, go back and do the big side buns. And that's all that's left. The other side's a little bit bigger though, so there's probably going to be a bit more to it. And it's okay. Overall, I enjoy the process. I've said in the past that, you know, when it comes to drawing for certain amounts of time, it really does depend on what you're doing, because this here, what I'm doing right now, I probably could do for 16 hours a day. It's really not very hard. It's, time consuming, but it does not take very much brain power. Not at all. So I could do it for a pretty long time, but when it came to starting this picture and getting everything down and figuring out where everything needed to be and all that stuff, ooh, after like 2.5 hours or maybe even just 2, my brain was so fried. It hurt so bad that day. There was no way I could go on for, you know, even more than 3 hours. Even 3 hours is seriously pushing it. But this part, very easy. And it's kind of nice to have a relaxing part after all the difficult parts that came before it. Where I can just perfectly shape a bunch of hair. Alright, let's get all these little guys here. I think most of them are looking pretty alright. I think I'm gonna merge these two a little. The others I will keep separate. Okay. So I think that's about it for the side there. I don't think I want to add anything more through here. Maybe just a little guy. Yeah, little guy looks good. So now into the drills. Into the drills. Okay, so I do want to make sure that this is nice and straight. I feel like some things got a little bit curved there. But things gotta be a little bit more straight here. Okay. Okay, this line is not cooperating, but it's alright. I'll wrangle it into submission. I always do. Just because I want them to be super thin. But even the super thin ones have to have a particular quality to them. Alright, I'm gonna finish off all the dark parts before I go and do the highlights here. The angle of this guy got a little bit off, so I gotta fix it. And then I see that there's a highlight covering this little guy. I think I will just move that little guy. We'll just put him over here instead. He can still be right next to the highlight, though. That's fine. That little guy can be friends with the highlight if he wants. Okay. Let's see, I don't quite like the way that little guy is, so I'm gonna move him over a little bit too. I'm sure he'll be happier in the new spot where it follows the flow of the hair just a little bit better. And then I think I want another little guy just right there. Just a little. Okay. Alright, I think I'm gonna go in and do the highlights for this part. Before I go in and do the bottom drill there, I think that makes sense. I do like finishing things one kind of area at a time. It makes me happy. So I'll go ahead and do it just like that. Okay. And then I think this is following the flow of the hair sufficiently well. I think I will make this one a little longer. But other than that, I think it's good. Now I just gotta make sure things taper off the way that I want them to, and that everything is nice and smooth. Okay. So this one I'm gonna keep a little bit more diamond shape. Just like that. And then this one I can kind of just let run through like this. I think it needs to follow the flow of the hair a little bit better, but that's easy to fix. All I gotta do is, you know, erase at the right spot, and then all will be well. And sure, this could have this kind of shape. Sounds good to me. Maybe I'll even make it a little bit more like this kind of shape, where the point is a little bit more in the middle. Nah. What I had before was better. I kind of dig that though, so I'll leave it like that. That's kind of cool. Sometimes the hand just has really good ideas. And it's good to listen to your hands. Sometimes they just know things. It's like magic. It's kind of incredible. Okay. Bottom of the drill. Here we go. Once again, I'm going to do the shadows first. And then I will worry about the highlights that are sitting on top. First, I gotta kinda erase this guy, though, because he's a little in the way, and I can already tell that I want him to be sitting on top here. That was definitely what I was going for. I was just too zoomed out to aim properly. Alright, make that nice and pointy. And go from there. And here I don't feel like I have quite enough variation in the thickness of the lines here. So I'm going to make this guy just a tad thicker, so he'll be thick and short compared to this one slightly thinner and longer. And then I do like that little guy right next to him. I think that is perfect, just the way that one is. Doesn't even need to be touched up. He is excellent. So this one I don't think is following the angle of the hair very well, so I will adjust that. Everything else seems alright. Just needs minor bits of cleaning. But that's why I zoom in for these things, because, you know, it can be hard to get some of these things just right when I'm really far zoomed out. But at least down here, I can see everything. And I can get it just the way I want it to be. Eventually. This line's not looking bad, though. Got a little bit curved. Just due to how I draw lines. So I will have to fix that, but that's fine. Easy enough to do. Okay. So that should be this entire side done now. Oh wait, I didn't do the highlight. What am I talking about? That should be the shadows of that entire side done now. So let's get the highlight before I do something silly, like forget. Wouldn't want that to happen. That would just be deeply unfortunate. Okay. So I'll just shape this to be nice and smooth. And from there, I can make sure everything is tapering off into nice triangles and that it's hitting the edges that I want it to hit. And so far, I think it's doing great at that. I will add that little guy back, but I want it to be in a slightly different spot. So he's gonna get a new home, and for that, he has to, you know, temporarily die first. It's fine. Don't worry about it. There we go. That's a much better spot. Okay. And now it's actually all good. So I guess I'll just continue down the other side of her hair here. So one side left, then the two big hair buns, and that'll be it for hair until the back hair. That's gonna be mostly covered by her body. Just need to stretch real quick. My arms are kind of locking up. Ah. Okay. So I already did up here, so I guess I'll go do these highlights now. I'm already on this layer too, so it makes sense to just get them out of the way here. I want this one to follow the edge a little bit more closely, I think. So I'm going to shape it a little bit more like this, and then pull this back. There we go. And then I'll connect these two. I think this was supposed to be like an N shape. And you, I will replace. So this way it follows the shape of the hair a little bit better. And I get a nice little shape like this. Just right next to this big one. You, I think I would like to go a little bit lower, so I'm actually going to change this shape just a little. I'm going to make it a little bit longer. I'm going to keep it thin, though. And just let it go down like that. Just like that. Alright, so now it's just a matter of cleaning it all up. This one I think has a really good shape already. I will put a little guy right here. Just a little guy, maybe a little diamond. But just a little guy. I don't want too much to be right there. I also want to make sure that these shapes are nice and varied in terms of length, width, and shape. Okay, I'll add a little bit more triangularness to this one. And I think I'm going to put another little guy back behind him. Just a little guy. There we go. Something like that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Now I'll go back to the shadows. And start plopping them in. Oh, I see. You're not part of the shadows. You are just part of the hair. Okay, well, I feel like you're a little bit blurry, so I would like to fix you. Okay. Just gonna try to make that line until it is just the way I want it to be. And then I'll continue my way on down. And I think all of this looks pretty alright. These little guys are fine. I'm just gonna make sure that they taper off a little bit more nicely. And that they're a little bit more of a consistent width. Because they're little guys. They're not supposed to have a lot of variation to them. That's not their purpose. They're just there for a little bit of extra texture. Okay. I think that shadow's quite good now. Okay. I just want to add a couple of little guys right through there. I think that looks pretty good. So now I just got to clean up this side. It's all getting there. It's like I think this is the last bit on her side hair here. So I'm almost at the end. And after that, just a few more details on her big hair buns. And the hair will be done, and I'll have to figure out what to do next. Actually, before I even finish rendering her hair buns, I should do her earrings. I almost forgot about them. I think I was actually going to start this session by doing those, but I forgot. So I should do those. That seems important, especially since they will probably be casting some shadows on her hair buns. So yes, that does sound rather important. I will do them after I finish her side hair here. Let's see. I'm gonna make this one a little smaller. There we go. Just because I don't really want them to bunch up with the larger guys down here. They must have their own presence. They cannot steal some presents from the guys down here. That would just be rude. Alright. This is where it all kind of wraps around here. So I do want to make sure that this is like especially straight. Very important. And I'll just let a couple of extra strands come out there, just some little guys. This one I want to go all the way to the edge, so I'm gonna just kind of darken the area on the side there. And right here, I don't actually like that little guy coming out there, so I'm just going to erase it. Then from here, just gotta make sure that this one is following the shape of the hair again. As I always gotta do. I'm gonna add another little guy just right there. Couple of little guys, I think. Right here's feeling a little bit boring. There we go. Much more interesting now. Sometimes things just feel a little bit empty when I get into rendering them like this. And it always makes me just want to add a couple more little shapes. Okay, and I do think, once again, I will go ahead and do the highlights before I move on to the next drill. I just want to finish off these little shadows first, because they are quite important and do need plenty of attention. Welcome back. Oh, welcome back. All right. Yeah, let's see. I want to taper this guy a little bit more nicely, but besides that, I think I'm about ready for those highlights. and they will be fantastic. Okay. So here we go. First, they need to follow the shape of the hair just a little bit better than they currently are. Kind of want them hanging out on top there. Some of these shapes still feel a little bit weird to me, but I do think they look good, so I think all is well. And this I want to bend right through here just a little before it curves back. I think that'll let it match with the rest of the hair just a little bit better here. Okay. So now I just got to get those shapes exactly right. And I do think it is pretty important to get them very, very good here. It's because I do think that they will really sell just how these drills are turning. Oh no. Okay, and you know what? I don't like anything about this highlight right now, so I'm just gonna erase it, and I will draw it anew. Hopefully in better shape. I'm gonna leave just a little bit of pink between here, just so that this way the highlights aren't like running into each other. There are occasions where I would let that happen, but this is not one of them. I think it'll look better like this. And I also don't want this part to be the same length as this part, so I'm gonna make it much shorter. And right now I kind of feel like their widths are too similar, so I'm gonna make this one thicker too. Something like that. I actually don't mind this little dance going on there, the little dent in it. I think that's actually okay, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And then I'm just gonna lightning bolt my way down, as I do when I do highlights like this. All right. Okay, I think I'm going to make the one on this side a little bit shorter. I think I'm going to make right through here a little thicker, kind of combine it with that little bit that's kind of going back out over there. And I think that will be a pretty good shape. And I think it does look a little bit more interesting than it would have otherwise. Okay, and then down on the final drill here, I'm going to start with the shadows again. Just kind of continue the same process. Let's see. I can tell that you were supposed to be thinner. So I'm just going to erase this shadow kind of next to it and just shape this one to look a little bit nicer. And let's see, this highlight is kind of in the way, so I need to erase a little bit through here. But I'm not going to finish shaping it until I have these shadows shaped the way I want. Okay, and now I can get the other little guy that was supposed to be there back in. And he will be in a much better spot. Okay. So the ones over here I think are looking okay. I don't think the one there is working, so I'm going to move him a little. I'll just plop him right there, I think. Okay, and I want to move this one. I just want to plop him, like, right about there. I think that's a much better spot for him. He looks a little curved, though, so I'm going to try to make it a little straighter. Curse my habit of just making my lines slightly curved. My hand does not like to move in straight lines. It's fine. I will train it to do so. And I do think I have been getting better as I've been doing this, so that's been nice. Everything does feel a little bit easier now than it did when I first started. That is the joy of just going to do things. Okay. Okay. So I will just continue this little shape here. Okay, and I want a thin one, kind of through here, just a little guy. So we'll get my little N shape in here. And I'll make this highlight nice and small. Maybe a little longer on the end here. Okay. And I think that is it for all of her front hair now. So all that's left are the big hair buns. But before I draw those, I gotta draw her earrings. Because I kind of forgot. Okay, I'm just gonna draw them on this layer, I think. Yeah, you know what? Sounds good to me. What do they look like again? So she's got, like, 2 on each side? They are mirrored, right? In my other reference, her hand is covering one. Yeah, they're mirrored. So I don't actually think that we'll see any on this side, because her ear is, like, buried in this somewhere. You know, I think I actually intended to make that pink. Yeah, so let me invert the colors here. Okay, I'm pretty sure I intended to put a little pink spot around this, and I just didn't. So let's do that. We gotta have her big knife ears here. I actually do think that that's an incredibly important part of her design, so I want to make sure that's in there. But even so, like, her earrings I think would be hanging down behind her head here, so I only really need to worry about the ones over there. The rest, they're out of sight. Where are my layers? Okay, here we are. Alright. So what do we have here? We got a little white flower. I'm gonna look at my higher quality reference. Let's see, we got the little white flower and... looks like just another little diamond gem. Okay, easy enough. I kind of want them to be waggling over here. I think that'll look pretty good. And those highlights are going to stop me from being able to paint properly, so I'm going to hide them for the moment. Alright. So, let's see. First, I think I want to define where they touch the ear. and I think I will do that. Yeah, let's do it here. This could be a dangly part. It makes sense. So we got one, like, right about here. And another one right about here. And I think that is sufficiently accurate for what I want here. So it's got a little part coming off this way. And then we got the big diamond, which I think I will just draw like this. Okay. I think it's a little skewed, so I'm gonna skew that a bit. Just get that diamond shape in there. Okay, and I think that looks pretty good. And then the flower. So the flower is also in a big diamond shape, so I'm just gonna draw that first. So we got the little connecting piece here. And then another big diamond piece. This one is a little bit bigger than the last one I just drew. So I think at this angle... Actually, I think this one's a little too long. That's too short, though. There we go, that's better. And then I can plop down some shadows onto her hair from this. Once I have them confidently drawn. Okay, and I think that looks pretty good. I mean, it needs to be smoothed, but this is good for now. And then... yeah, let's give it... the one some gems. Yeah, so he just has a little tiny gem just right in here. This is a terrible shape, but it's fine. And it is larger on the top than the bottom, so I'm going to cut off a little bit of the bottom here. Make it a little flatter. There we go. Gonna send it up just a little bit more, and that's fine for now. I will render it out in a little bit, and now the flower. So there's no gem on that one. There is like a little hole right above there, but I'm not going to do that part just yet. I just want the flower. So let's see, the top petal of the flower is like almost the same width as everything else here. Just almost. It's not heart-shaped like I keep trying to make, but gonna extend it out just a little further there, a little further this way. Roughly like this, but I think a little bit lower. Okay. And then the other petals are pretty firmly off of it. And then the bottom one hangs off just a little. Okay, and that is not exactly right, but, you know, it's not bad for a start. So let's go try to push everything into a better spot here. I'm just going to use Liquify to help me push things around a little. Stop things from being quite so bulgy, and try to get them all a little bit closer to the shapes that I would like. So I'm just kind of patting around with liquefy until I'm satisfied. And I worry that I might have made them a little bit big. Let's see, about how big are they on her? Maybe just a little. It's actually not that bad. But I do think that they are maybe just a little bit big. Okay, but that seems fine. Alright, and now I can smooth these out, and then I can get all the nice little black parts on there. Let's see, there's supposed to be like a little hole above here. I can't tell if that's a hole. I don't think it is. No, it is. Okay. There's like a little hole underneath the gem on this part. It took me a second to be able to tell if it was a hole or just a ridge, but I'm pretty sure it's a hole. Okay. And then they just have simple little round connectors. I better zoom in for this because this is where things get a little precise. But just little round parts where it connects to her ear here. This kind of detail is important. It's actually really good to think about how your clothes and accessories actually attach to the character, so that this way you can draw them a little bit more accurately. So, you know, think about how they actually put on the earring and take them off and that kind of thing. It'll help. It'll make things just a little bit better and a little bit easier to understand. Okay. For this part, I do kind of feel like I have to get the shape of the gem and the shape of the thing holding the gem right together. So I'll be switching back and forth a lot. It's a little annoying, but I can deal. And I'll just gently start shaving at the shapes here until I think that they convey the right thing and all the angles are good. This is why I said that I kind of had to go back and forth a little. I don't think it's possible to get the widths right without knowing where that gem is going to be hanging out. Where it will be living. Oh, do I not have something filled in there? Okay. The gem layer is still clipped to everything underneath, so I saw a hole and I kept trying to fill it in, but the hole was on the layer underneath it that it was clipped to, so I needed to fill it in under there. Okay. So I just want to perfect the shape of the hole now. Make sure that it is nice and triangular, and that once again I am just using all the straight lines. Definitely don't want any curves here. I mean, even if I was drawing normally, I wouldn't want curves here. This is a straight, rigid earring, and it is pointy and sharp. Thus, it's extra important to get it nice and straight and pointy and sharp. Make sure that I have no curves going on. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And now I need to get this one. This one is a little trickier because I can't see where her earlobe is. But it's okay. I can kind of guess. This is my chance to tell people where her earlobe is, just from the shape of this earring. So even though we can't see it, well, now you can tell it's there because you can see it here. And this one is theoretically kind of doing the same thing. You know, theoretically. Okay. So now I just gotta get the shape of all of this. Most of it's kind of covered up by the flower, so I'm still worried about it. I'm still gonna try to get it as accurate as I can, of course. But I got a little bit more wiggle room because of the flower. I'll certainly use any wiggle room I can. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. And I might be running out of time, but honestly, I think I'm at a pretty good pace to be finishing off her head today. So, sans, you know, the backmost hair that I always do after I finish the body. So I am quite pleased. And then next time, I should be able to get into with her body. That'll be just probably her neck and chest area. That'll be where I start. Okay. Let's get this flower. I'm just taking one last look at what it looks like. And I do think I actually need this part to be a little bit longer. So I don't think I have these side petals quite right. You know what I think I'm actually going to do? I'm going to make my life a little easier, and I'm just going to draw it like this. Okay. So I'm going to do it like, let's see, start from right about there. And then I'll try to shape it nice. And then once I think I have it shaped nicely, let's go ahead and hide the body for a second here so I can see what I'm doing. Once I have it shaped nicely, I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees. And then I will flop it onto the earring there and resize it. Okay. That should be a little bit easier than just trying to draw it. So now I know I have a really good shape there. And I can just flop it on over here and resize it until it's doing what I want. So it's at a slight angle. It's kind of going the other way. There we go. And I think I want it a little bit bigger than that. Let's see, it kind of goes down here. Little bit bigger. Little bit bigger. Little bit bigger. Right about there. Okay. There we go. Yep, that was easier. No need to make things any more complicated than they have to be, I suppose. Okay, and now all I gotta do is finish up that hole. And I think that these are both looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and get the lines in. Alright, so I'm gonna start with the gem. You know, as I tend to. Is it also in set? It sure is. It sure is. Okay. Let's see. I kind of want to straighten out this edge here. I think it's a little curved. There we go. That's a little better. And I'll even give him his little highlight. That is a good little highlight. Okay. Alright, and for the rest, I think I can just do outlines. And it'll be no problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this shape in before I do the outlines on the gold part. I want to give it a little bit of thickness there. But for the rest, I think I'm just going to do normal outlines. I think we see a little bit of the top here. And it just goes back around. And we'll see a bit of the side here. And these ones will be nice and thin. I'm definitely gonna have to touch these up, but that's okay. I can do that. I can do that. Okay, and here, just a matter of getting that line the perfect thickness. Is there any other, like, decorations on this flower? No, not really. So it'll just go in and up here, and I think this one will go in a little bit more. And this one will go in a little bit more. And then I'll finish getting this top part its necessary thickness, I think. I'll just go around at, you know, whatever angle I feel like. It's fine. I'll be hitting them all, so... As always, whatever order I want works. It's all good. Down here. Over here. Up there. Okay. I think that should be fine. That's maybe not there, but the rest I think is looking pretty alright. Okay, and now I can go do the gold parts. My hand is cramping a little from how small everything is there, but, you know, it's still all good. And I'm not going to do anything too complicated here. I'm just gonna separate the parts that I think need to be separated. And then put lines around the parts that need them. So we'll see a little bit more of this side. So I'll make the line there a little thicker and the line here a little thicker. And right there. And the rest can be thin. And that should all give them a pretty appropriate level of presence. Okay, that seems fine. And then there's nothing real special happening around the flower. I do see just a little tiny ridge kind of underneath here. So I will get that in. But there's not a lot to that one. I might not have this angle quite steep enough, but it's okay. I can fix that too. Okay. So this one's already all in shadow, so I'm just going to kind of divide the areas. And I don't think I need to do much else there. Then just add the thicker parts where I think we're seeing a bit of the side. So like right here too. And then right through here. And I think I'll just fill in this part behind the flower. I think that's fine. And there we go. That is all of that. And I don't think I'm going to put any highlights on that. The flower is already taking up too much attention in my opinion, so I'm just going to leave it there. And like I said, I'm pretty sure the earrings are totally hidden underneath her head on the other side, so that's all. So I do want to put a little shadow underneath here. I think I'm just gonna... they're pretty close, so I think I'm just gonna make it like this. And like this. This does mean I'll have to move some highlights, but I kind of expected that, so it's fine. That's exactly why I wanted to draw them. That's exactly why I felt the need to draw these earrings. And now I think they're all good. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna touch up the extra little shadows that I put on this. I don't think I put in that many, but nonetheless, I do want to make sure that they're all there looking their best. It'd be a shame to leave them not looking their best. So mostly just getting out of all those little spots where my hand kind of goes astray and doesn't quite know what's going on, and making sure that everything tapers nicely. I don't think there's a lot to it, though. Yep, seems fine to me. And then I just plop in highlights. I'm still gonna try to put a little, like, around these curves over here, but for the rest, they're gonna stay in the middle. Like I already have it. This one, I'm not gonna bring all the way to the edge. This one's gonna stay out like this. How do I want you to be shaped? I want it to be just a little bit more triangular, I think. But that is her last accessory on her head. I think. Unless I missed an important detail. So I am free there. I am kind of looking forward to getting into her clothes. I do like drawing clothes. I think it is a good time. So I'll add my little N shape here. And just kind of taper things off, and oh man. You know, I don't think I did half bad for being so zoomed out, but I got a lot of cleaning to do here. It's alright, I'll make it look good. Won't let anything look bad. Alright. So fortunately, you know, these highlights are the last thing I have to do over here. It's very exciting. Dude, I am always so happy when I finally finish hair. It's like I was pretty happy when I finished the crown too, because I knew the crown was like the hardest thing I was gonna have to draw in this image. But now the hair is almost done too, and that is just like all of the time-consuming stuff out of the way. I think I'm gonna make this one a little bit narrower. That it is. So it'll just be a huge weight off my shoulders, because the picture, it's getting close to being done. How long will it take me to draw all 5 of them? Place your bets. Will Anya debut before I finish the rest? Alright, for this one, I think I'm gonna leave it just a couple of little guys. And then I'll keep going with the bigger ones a little further down. Okay. So I'm going to make it this one a little more triangular, as I've been doing. But I think otherwise he looks fine. And we're down to the last couple of highlights. I still got a few more to do on the other side, but there's far less to do there. So as expected, I should be able to finish her head today. That is so exciting. I will be free from hair until like the very end, when I have to go do all of the hair behind her. Let's see. I think it's probably catching light from this side. So I think I want the highlight to be like this. I still want a few little highlights just around this rim, but I'm not going to go very hard on them. I'm going to keep them very simple. And very small. They're not quite little guys, but they are still fairly small. I'll let this one be just a little bit thicker. I'm not going to let it overlap that line I just overlapped. I will fix that momentarily. But I kind of want to block in where I want this highlight to live before I fix it. I want to be ready. Okay, I think that's pretty good. And we'll just get that part nice and thin. This is exactly why I wanted to have an idea of what I was doing. So now I can just easily connect this out on the side. I could add my little guys here. And I don't think it needs any more. I think this is perfect. I'm not going to go all the way to the top on this one. And this one I think is mostly covered by earring, so I will put just a little guy right there. And leave it at that. Let's see, we got a little bit too much blobbing going on here. I don't want to leave it blobby. Okay. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I really do think that the highlights really brought out the rest of this. The extra shadows helped a lot, but the highlights are really doing a lot. So, let's go do some more highlights. Let's see, you're not shaped quite right. It's alright, we'll get you shaped. I'm going to keep the highlights over here a little bit simpler. I don't think this side needs that many. It's questionable whether it needs any at all, but I do think it looked a little bit better with them, so I'm going to roll with it. I do like highlights. Highlights just make everything look so much shinier. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll be pretty good. Make sure it's nice and pointy and straight. Definitely don't want any curves there. Put a little guy right there, so I think he'll look good there. And this guy can just be like this. Okay. And yeah, I think these are the last ones. I decided to leave those ones bald. Let's see, it looks like I do have a couple of little extra shadows I need to fix here. Oh, yeah, I just left you like that, huh? That's just how you looked. Well, no more. Let us fix that. Let's see, I think this little guy got a little bit crooked, so I'm going to straighten him out. Okay, the rest... Let's see, here I need to redraw them entirely. But they are just some little guys there. And I think that's fine. So I'll go ahead and just finish off the highlights here. And I think I support my choice to not put highlights on the bottom there. So once I finish this, that is it for the hair. Unless I decide I want to fix a bunch of stuff next time, which, you know, I wouldn't put it past me. That happens sometimes, but I don't know. Looking at it, I think it looks pretty good, so with any luck, if I do feel the need to fix it, it'll just be a couple of small things. Just straightening out those things there, and there we go. Let's give her body back. But I think that is a finished head. I mean, I'm going to turn on her back hair too. But that is a finished head. So let's see. Big stretch. Next time. Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of her neck and chest area, and then I'll probably get the rest of this arm just because it's bothering me. So upper body, and the other arm and hand too, and then lower body. And I think before I get the lower body, I want to kind of perfect the shape that she's sitting in. So I'll do that. And I might see if I prefer a flower in her eye too. And yeah, so I do feel like the head was the vast majority of this picture. And now that it's done, I think the rest will go much faster. Or maybe that's just me having some wishful thinking. But yes, as always, I do like to go all in on the face and the stuff right around it. So, I did. And now it's done. And I am happy. But that is where I will stop for today. So, thank you all for coming. And I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow. And also, there is one thing that I might start trying to do, and that's making, like, actual waiting rooms. So that this way you can hopefully let YouTube notify you of streams a little bit more easily. So, I might start trying to do that today. If not today, then, you know, maybe next Sunday. We'll see how tired I am today. But I will see you all tomorrow.